Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
When you start to brighten other people's world with a smile, all of a sudden the world brightens up around you. It's like reciprocal. It's so interesting, and it's something in psychology that I don't want to talk about more because I don't have the studies in front of me, but it's something about us having a good attitude and keeping a good attitude around the people that we are having or around with that makes us so much better at whatever we want to do. Let's stop fighting beliefs. Stop fighting beliefs and let's try to find common ground. We're all on this planet together. According to statistics, it's the person who's mediocre that actually advances further. I'm more interested in the top 10 richest men in the world, you know, and Bezos, who I can't get over this joke. I've been saying this joke, and if somebody says it on the Oscars, you know what I'm saying? The man can get divorced and is still the richest man in the she took half and he's still richest man. Come on, Bezos, you got this. When you start to brighten other people's world with a smile, all of a sudden the world brightens up around you. It's like reciprocal. It's so interesting, and it's something in psychology that I don't want to talk about more because I don't have the studies in front of me, but it's something about us having a good attitude and keeping a good attitude around the people that we are having or around with that makes us so much better at whatever we want to do. Let's stop fighting beliefs. Stop fighting beliefs and let's try to find common ground. We're all on this planet together. According to statistics, it's the person who's mediocre that actually advances further. I'm more interested in the top 10 richest men in the world, you know, and Bezos, who I can't get over this joke. I've been saying this joke, and if somebody says it on the Oscars, you know what I'm saying? The man can get divorced and is still the richest man in the she took half and he's still richest man. Come on, Bezos, you got this. When you start to brighten other people's world with a smile, all of a sudden the world brightens up around you. It's like reciprocal. It's so interesting, and it's something in psychology that I don't want to talk about more because I don't have the studies in front of me, but it's something about us having a good attitude and keeping a good attitude around the people that we are having or around with that makes us so much better at whatever we want to do. Let's stop fighting beliefs. Stop fighting beliefs and let's try to find common ground. We're all on this planet together. According to statistics, it's the person who's mediocre that actually advances further. I'm more interested in the top 10 richest men in the world, you know, and Bezos, who I can't get over this joke. I've been saying this joke, and if somebody says it on the Oscars, you know what I'm saying? The man can get divorced and is still the richest man in the she took half and he's still richest man. Come on, Bezos, you got this.
One more time, folks. One more time. Coming in soon.
When you start to brighten other people's world with a smile, all of a sudden the world brightens up around you. It's like reciprocal. It's so interesting, and it's something in psychology that I don't want to talk about more because I don't have the studies in front of me, but it's something about us having a good attitude and keeping a good attitude around the people that we are having or around with that makes us so much better at whatever we want to do. Let's stop fighting beliefs. Stop fighting beliefs and let's try to find common ground. We're all on this planet together. According to statistics, it's the person who's mediocre that actually advances further. I'm more interested in the top 10 richest men in the world, and Bezos, who I can't get over this joke. I've been saying this joke, and then somebody says it on the Oscars. You know what I'm saying? The man can get divorced and is still the richest man. And she took half, and he's still richest man. Come on, Bezos, you got this.
Yes. Bezos has this. Yes. Bezos has this.
It's like reciprocal.
What's up, folks?
Interesting, and it's something in psychology that I don't want to talk about more because I don't have the studies in front of me, but it's something about us having...
What's up, folks? You know what time it is, folks. That's right. It's time for more In the Hot Box with Doc Real. One more time. Let's say that one more time without the background sound. You know what time it is, folks. That's right. It's time for more In the Hot Box with Doc Real. Today, we're here to talk about accepting to advance. Accept to advance. It's a lesson I did yesterday, and I'm going to normally repeat my Sunday lessons on Monday evenings around 8 p.m. because, make sure we get these messages out to people. Some people will be in church on Sunday. Some people will be doing whatever, spending time with family or whatever they may be doing. So I just want to make sure that we do get these lessons out to people who want them. They're free lessons. You don't have to pay anything for them. You get a chance to get a little insight of what some of these small business owners, big business owners, medium business owners are doing to advance themselves. And some entrepreneurs. And if you are in entertainment, or you were raised in entertainment, or you were around entertainment most of your life, then you understand that most entertainers are entrepreneurs. And if you're still entertaining, then right now is that time that you need to be putting it in overdrive. And so we're going to talk about that. A lot of people, I don't want to say a lot of people, some of the people who have taken the lessons or listened to the lessons that I put out before have asked me several different questions. And we went through a series called Back to the Basics. And this is still kind of that series. We're still in Back to Basics. But after you get past the basics of getting a little bit motivated to get up and do something or trying to figure out what to do, the next is, how do you start to make those moves to do what you need to do? And a lot of this has to do with our personal needs, wants, and desires, and our personal beliefs in ourselves. So we'll be right back shortly with Accept to Advance, after a word from my sponsors at Push Button Entertainment. All right, folks, stay tuned. We'll be right back. This is Doc Real TV, and this is In the Hot Box with Doc Real, and this one is called Accept to Advance.
Look at us up on Doc Real TV.
Now, I switched some things around, and I'm actually hoping I did it right. I didn't make a separate one for this particular broadcast like I did before for the broadcast with Robert Graves. And Robert Graves' broadcast actually changed the way my sound setup was, and I think I got it back right the way it was supposed to be that we were. So, but for those just tuning in, you know what time it is, folks. That's right. It's time for In the Hot Box with Doc Real, and today we're talking about Accept to Advance. You've got to learn. We've got to learn. We have to learn to accept in order for us to advance. Now, especially now in the times that we're talking, the situation that we're all in, this pandemic, it's a lot of acceptance going on. It's a lot of us in our homes, changing our patterns. We're accepting this new habit that's been thrown on us, this new habit that might not be change at all until the end of May. But then even when it changes at the end of May, it's still got some progressing to do until there's some kind of vaccine for this virus. So today, this is that time that I come to talk to some of you who may not have heard me talk about This is that time. This is that time for us to be pushing a button. This is that time for us to make that voyage, make that journey. Take that creative ability that you have and take it onto the next level. And so those who have been following along and those who actually saw the lesson yesterday, you know that I got a little bit hot. You know, because there's some things that, you know, even though I was pointing the full hand out to everybody, not the one finger and the three fingers back, there's some things that I still have to accept myself. And, you know, I mean, I got a little hot in the lesson. This is my rant day. Sunday is going to be my rant day, and today is going to be my solid day. Monday is going to be my solid day where I come in and really, really give you the lesson with a more serious note and a lot of less passion. I mean, there's still going to be a lot of passion in it. Don't get me wrong, because I'm a passionate person. But last Sunday, I had a lot more passion in it. And a lot more passion behind it because I saw some things out in our world that sometimes I still have a hard time accepting. You know, the docism I wrote for this particular lesson says, acceptance is the only way we can make changes and remap our trajectory. Matter of fact, let me change some things real quick here. Make some changes and remap our trajectory. Hold on for a second, folks. Oh, y'all don't want to see that. No. I lost the page. Let me come on back real quick. Let's come on back real quick. There was an internet haps. And so I'm going to have to sign back in real quick. And let me just sign back in and I'll get us back to that. Oh, I guess I didn't. Maybe I didn't. I'm waiting. There we go. And I put this on adult stream because I'm probably going to, I want to say that I was probably going to vape, but I may not vape. Knowing me, goodness. I think that's it. Long encryption. Let's see here. Okay, so I was setting up something that looks a little bit like this for you all. Boom. Oh, wow. That didn't come out right. Once again, things change. Things change when you're a stranger. Faces were lovely when you're alone. Then you seem wicked. We got two windows there, too. Oh, that's interesting. All right, so I'm going to adjust this real quick. Sorry, folks, for the delay. Actually, I think that's where it's supposed to be. I think that was right where it was supposed to be. I think I need to use the one behind it. I think that's what that's for. Because I think I have a display and a... so let's move that back out there. Let's not worry about that window capture. And let's use this display capture real quick. And this display capture... Window capture... Display capture... Looks like it needs a little bit of stretching. Okay, give me just 1 second, folks. Yeah, so I think I adjusted the wrong one earlier. Actually, I know I adjusted the wrong one earlier. And I put this out of whack. So now I know which one. Because I was using display capture for one and Windows capture for another, and now it's all. So these are some of the things that I'm going to be actually putting back out as well. The fact that, you know, there are certain steps and movements and things that you could do. And like I said, I've just jumped in. I jumped in with another program. I got used to that program instead of used to what I was regularly using, which is Streamlabs OBS. And Streamlabs OBS was helping me. Not Streamlabs, OBS was helping me do this the proper way. And ever since I started using Lightstream, which isn't bad, I liked Lightstream. It helped me feed, you know, whatever I wanted to feed into my stream and to get on Mixer the way I wanted to get on Mixer. but it just wasn't FTL. It didn't have all these lovely features that you can do with OBS. So, as I was saying before, the lesson, this 12 steps lesson here is all about accept to advance. It's after the basics. It's after that time that you get the basics in and you understand what it takes for you to get up off the couch and start planning, or the planning that you need and the research you need to do to figure out if what you want to do is viable. But you have to first climb up, because, we got to figure out how to climb up in the society that we're living in now. And that's the last lesson I did, was climb up. It was all about motivating us to actually get up in this time, that it's not a vacation. It's not that time to take off. This is the perfect time for us to take that idea that we were talking about, that we were investing time and energy, that we set back and we wrote down on paper, and starting to plan. So climb up is all about, take that idea, let's start moving. And accept to advance is all about motivating us to move, all right? Because we have this thing, we have this little problem. Human nature, we have this little problem with ourselves. You know what I'm saying? We start to fall into scenarios and we start to, complain, argue, get upset. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, it's not a matter of us getting upset. It's a matter of us understanding that we need to accept the situation we're in so that we can figure out how to get out of it. All right? So we can figure out how to take the next steps. You know what I'm saying? I got this song where I'm talking about this. I say, I'm taking my steps to climb, running on time, almost home, still going, till I cross the line. I've been talking to you all about this, that I am a case study for myself. You know what I mean? I'm going from zero to hero. And what does that mean? I mean, some of y'all are like, man, what is he talking about? He's going from zero to hero. Well, I started this process in 2016. So I've already been moving up a scale. So when I say that now, I say that from a perspective that I looked at things and I did a lot of research and I took a lot of time and just sat around. I took a lot of time because I'm going to tell you what happened. I have an injury from the military, and when I was coming out my bedroom one night to go get some water, maybe 3 a.m., I don't remember what time it was, 1 to 2 a.m., my foot went out, I fell through my glass table. I cut my leg wide open to the bone. I actually hit my teeth and broke part of my teeth, but I didn't even bring that up to the doctors because I knew that my insurance didn't cover it at the time. You know what I'm saying? Things that I didn't do, that the reason why I have the teeth started to, have problems now. You know what I mean? And I broke them and I chipped them. I cracked one and I broke the other one. I had to get the other one pulled. And then this one, it finally broke off. You know what I mean? So, but either way, I still have to go and I have to see the dentist about this. Okay, yeah, of course. In the time that I want to go see the dentist about this, we got a pandemic. So, that's another thing right there. So, I mean, I've been prepping for this, but at the same time, I'm accepting that. I'm accepting that I still got to come before you and look not to the best of what I feel in my ability. I'm accepting that, I have to, smile with a crooked look. You know what I mean? A crooked smile, as my boy, why am I forgetting his name? J. Cole says in his song, Crooked Smile. Isn't that J. Cole? I think it's J. Cole. Sorry. You know what I'm saying? But I think so. Maybe it wasn't J. Cole. Maybe I got it all backwards because I'm getting old. But, you know what I'm saying? Either way, y'all can look that up yourselves on that one. I'll probably come back and write in there whether or not I got it right. But this whole idea is that, I had to write down certain things for myself. I had to put stuff in my head, and I had to motivate myself to get back up off the couch, because I was laying on the couch after spending time in Kaiser, Kaiser, this is what happened in Kaiser. They had a team of doctors from sports medicine work on my leg to make sure that I could walk again. Because they were telling me that I cut my leg so deep through everything that I may not walk again because of how I cut through the muscle. You see, I fell right through my glass table. And when I got to get up, this is the first part of luck. And remember, I think that luck is a blessing. For all you who say, who will battle me on that, luck is always a blessing, because you can't have can't have luck without being blessed. So, I fell through the glass table, leg up, the same leg I've injured over and over and over again for some reason, happens to get a big piece of glass that goes in it, cuts through it, and it hits it so deep that when it hits the bone, the glass breaks off. I still have that piece of glass that broke off because I couldn't find, I was like, what cut me when I was throwing away the big pieces of glass? Well, it's because it broke off. My leg broke it off. A big old piece of glass about this thick, all right? And I keep that piece of glass to remind me of things that can happen in our lives, things that we have to kind of just accept. We're going to injure ourselves. We're going to fail. We're not going to actually make our journeys the way we feel we are going to make our journeys. But we have to be the ones involved in changing our situation. We have to be the ones involved in taking the steps to climb to change that scenario. Because when we take the steps to climb, we run on time, almost home, still going, we get to the end of the line. Even if it takes forever, like right now, officially I could have gotten my degree in December. I decided to kind of, take a couple of other classes, which actually changed it. So now my degree is going to be 2020, but a pandemic hits. None of us are going to be at commencement. I don't know when I'm going to get my degree. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to get the degree sometime but when are we going to do commencement? Oh, well, they're talking about December. Well, that might not happen either because, we got a virus affecting our world. So in that, I know that, okay, these things are going to happen, so I still got to do what I need to do to make sure my voyage, my journey is still moving forward. I've got to change my situation. You've got to change your situation. We've got to change our situation. We got plenty of scientists out there. We got plenty of great minds out there working at changing our situation, changing the situation for us, helping us. And excuse me, I've had bronchial problems. So you'll probably always hear me have a cough in the middle of something or have to drink some water into something to flush all the stuff down that goes through my sinuses, because my sinuses always drain. Which is why you'll hear me cough like that. But no, if I did have it, I probably wouldn't know it. For those who are wondering if I got CV, I probably wouldn't know it. Why would I probably not know it? Because, there's that widespread testing again. Unless I'm showing symptoms and I haven't had a fever, and I always feel like I'm immune because I've told myself I'm immune to it. I've told myself in my thought process that I'm immune to a lot of things. And I've also taken my Gao Mao Ling tablets, which, please don't take this the wrong way, anybody. I call my ancient Chinese secret since I was a little kid. The Gao Mao Ling tablets, I have to show you what those look like. But they're these yellow tablets that, my adopted mom used to give me. And I've gotten them like a couple of other places. And they're just herbal medication. But I feel like they've always boosted my immune system. So I've been like the guy who, when people came around and they were sick, I didn't get sick off of other people. But if I was sick and I came into the room, I would get everybody sick. So I have that possibility of being asymptomatic, but I don't want to go out and do any antibody tests just yet until we find out what's going on with the overall virus, because I don't want to go out and get involved in any testing unless I need to, for the sake of seeing if I'm ill, because I don't want to be the person bringing the virus to somebody, and I don't want to be the person getting the virus from somebody. Just because I say all the time, that doesn't mean that this one won't just jump from somebody to me. So I'm being careful. I'm keeping my, social distancing going on. Even at work, we have social distancing at work. Even when there are more than one people in the studio, we maintain a distance so that we can make sure that we're all being safe. So one of those things, I wrote this docism about acceptance. And I think it's important because it says acceptance is the only way that we can make changes and remap our trajectories. Acceptance is the only way. People think that, oh yeah, we could just deny it, but no. I'm taking this from the 12 steps, the actual 12 steps, the real 12 steps book, the blue book. Alcoholics Anonymous even puts it down like that because it understands that they understand the writer, I forgot his name, but the writer of Alcoholics Anonymous understood one thing. He understood that we have to accept the situations that we're in before we can clear our heads. You know what I'm saying? Where our minds get in our own way. We're our own worst nightmares. So if we don't accept it, we don't think past the situation. We end up spinning our wheels in that same spot. You know what I mean? And I'm no psychologist, but this is just obvious. You know what I'm saying? It's obvious for me that I've done it. It's obvious that I've seen other people do it. And you don't have to be a psychologist to see what I've learned from watching people over the years and getting to a certain age. That this is just a fact of human nature. And I've read enough stuff through sociology to understand that it really is a fact of human nature. I've heard enough from enough doctors and science. I've read enough books to understand that we need to get through these things because it's just a simple fact of human nature. Now understand, some of you people are probably wondering why I do these shows. Some people are like, oh, they're probably meant to be boring or whatever, Some people are coming in on Mixer and they're like, oh man, this guy is boring. What is he talking about? You know what I'm saying? Well, these are meant to be educational. These are meant to be educational for those of us, especially at a time like this when we're probably feeling down and not motivated to get up, and get something because we can't get out. We have to get up and get out inside of our own homes. We have to use devices to get out, like devices like our cell phones to project out. We have to put our faces on the screen because nowadays, I have a friend of mine who doesn't like their face on the screen, and you know who you are. But nowadays, right? People want to see your face because they want to feel you. We live in an era of, and it comes from a book that I've read before called the Indigo Children, the Indigo Children, right? It talks about a time that around my generation, which is the Generation X, to now, the generations coming out now, that we're gonna see a succession of children coming out more and more and more who understand who they are. Who are self-aware, who are more self-aware than you could ever imagine. That's why there's so many intelligent children out right now. That's why parents are so much in shock at how intelligent their children are. Because there are too many children coming out being self-aware because of what is happening. Indigo is about an aura. Indigo is about our energy, is about the energy we vibrate. We all vibrate different energies at different times, but an overall aura comes out of us. An overall energy vibrates off of us. And I think this indigo, actually, which I would have never guessed when I read this book. I had the first Motorola flip cell phone, okay? So when I read this book, that wasn't even out yet, all right? I got that the next 2 years when I was in the military. 2 years later, when somebody gave me this book. So let me tell you the time frame here. I never would have guessed that computers, because 95 hadn't hit yet. I wasn't even in the military yet when I read The Children of Indigo. So when I actually saw this instance of what's going on with computers and everything, now understand this. I believe computers have a part in the reason why there are more children of indigo in the world. All right. And that is important. That is very important because computers have advanced our minds to where we move faster. We vibrate differently. The energy that vibrates off computer screens, off the devices that we use, are vibrating and connecting with us. Soon we'll be vibrating at a level that 5G will be door to door to door, and we'll be getting these radio waves. These are waves we're talking about. And our bodies are being affected by them. And if our bodies are being affected by them, so are our minds. Just like when the moon is full, people think that they're tipsy or lightheaded or whatever. Yes, you are, because the moon is actually pulling from gravity, pulling your head up into the clouds. So yeah, you're a little bit off. You know what I mean? Just like people don't understand or feel like astrology is just made up stuff. Well, yeah, in some cases it really is, but astrology has a basis in science. Science that deals with gravity, deals with the relationship of energy in the universe, atoms, proton, neutrons, how proton, neutrons, and electrons, how they relate to each other and how they relate to each other on a bigger scale. So proton, neutrons, and electrons inside of an atom join up with other atoms to create molecules, to create everything that we see and know to this our own existence. You see what I'm saying? So when you talk about accepting the fact, you got to accept the fact that we're a minuscule piece of this universe, and that we'll probably never know if or how we were truly created. We have to accept that fact. And why do we have to accept that fact? Why do you think we have to accept that fact? Because our lifespan is so small that the only time we may understand it is through our beliefs. And I'm telling people to stick with your beliefs. I don't care what your belief is right now. Stick with your beliefs. If your beliefs motivate you to get up and get out digitally and get something and reach out to people and connect to people, then so be it. You know, as long as it's not, toxic. Yeah. Now, gamers love that phrase. Gamers, we all use that phrase. I love that phrase actually, because toxic is a good reference on how we can be to each other. And right now, I know that we could be. I was a little toxic earlier. As a matter of fact, I came home, my neighbor was doing what she needed to do, scrubbing her porch. And I was focused on something else, and I had my cell phone beeping out, so I was getting a little bit irritated right now because I had to wait to get in, and I'm doing stuff. But you know what? She was doing what she needed to do, so I don't blame her for what she needs to do. She's doing what she needed to do. So I had to keep my mouth quiet because I know I was feeling toxic right then. Had nothing really to do with her. Had nothing really to do with what she was doing. It's just that I was feeling a little toxic because of the situation we are all in. And we kind of have to be aware of that and accept that, and sometimes zip our lip. I'm a Sagittarian. We have a problem with holding back our sharp tongue. I don't even want to go there on how many times I've said some things that not that I regret, but wow, I feel bad that I said sometimes, because I'm gonna be real and tell you how I feel. That's just me. But at the same time, sometimes my intent and what happens from my intent, doesn't provide the same result that I want or I desire. It may hurt somebody. It may destroy somebody. So I got to be careful at what I say. And when I say it, and I got to accept the fact that I got to be careful. Excuse me, that was a little burp there. Acceptance is the only way that we can make changes and remap our trajectory. So what do you got to do? Make change. Make change. And with that, I got a book I want to talk to you all about. This book I pulled up yesterday, and yesterday I did it kind of a little bit different. I think on Sundays, I'm going to make it into a rant, and on Mondays, I'm going to actually give you the PowerPoint. So Sunday's rant pulled this book in, and this book, I hadn't even finished reading the sections. There's some more that I want to read in this book. I find it pretty interesting because it's all about stories. Stories and exercises to inspire and unleash the force within. All right? By Rosemary Altea. I think I said it right this time. Altea. Now, I think I said Altea before last time, but, hey, I was actually reading it backwards and upside down, so, sometimes that happens. And I didn't really look up this author when I started reading their book. I just happened to end up with this book. I don't even know how I got this book. I know I bought it, but I think I bought it. I don't know. I've been trying to figure that out still, but it's a hardback book, and I really like it. I really like it because she goes through stories of things that we've all experienced in our life. She tells us one story about sisters who complain as their children throughout most of their childhood, and while they're complaining as their children throughout most of their childhood, they're actually forgetting the fact that they need. Hold on for a second. I need to back this up because I need a mixer screen. They're actually forgetting the fact that well, not forgetting, but they're actually connecting on a different way. Like a lot of times we'll sit back and we'll say, why do people sit around and complain? Well, sometimes complaining is just a sharing of instances, a sharing of energy, or a ability to connect on the same level with someone else. But sometimes we could say something like yesterday, for instance. I said some things about our leadership. Maybe, I don't know, I got a little angry about the fact that we are having a problem getting things that we need to help our medical professionals, getting things that we need to help people who are out there trying to save people's lives, and getting things we need to help save people's lives still to this day. And yet and still, there are people talking about the money behind it. Right now, this is a whole world pandemic, and y'all are talking about money. We don't need the digital currency. That can be settled out later. Y'all can hash that stuff out later. And so I got really mad about that because I can't accept the fact that I don't understand why they can't hash that out later and just go ahead and just get it done and then start calculating the numbers. Y'all can calculate the numbers along the way, but stop worrying about the calculation of the numbers and just start trading and bartering with people saying, look, we need to get this done. Hey, I need to get on the phone. Hey, do this, do that, do that. Yeah, you got this. I know I can pick that up from you. Like some of these places that have been donating stuff and changing their processing plants around just to do stuff on their own free accord without looking for the funding. Yeah, we're going to pay them back. Yeah, our government's going to bail them, reimburse them for it. I'm pretty sure, because that's part of this whole plan. You know what I'm saying? But we can sit around and waste time about a bailout fund, and then we got an extra day of wasted time on some people's, a majority of people who really need these checks. You know what I'm saying? That may not have direct deposits. That may not even have, some of these people may have to go to a mailbox to go get their check because they don't have a home. All right? Because they lost their home in the process a few months ago, or they lost their ability to have a home, but yet and still they paid taxes last year and they don't have a home because our homeless crisis in California has risen. You see what I'm saying? But yet they got to wait for our president's name to be signed in a memo box on a check an extra couple of days. Yeah, these things, this whole understanding of money, when I think we treat money like it actually is worth something when it's really not. The value of money is what we put on it. And we've put a value on it. We've put a value on a piece of paper, on a digital imprint. The value is the work that we do. The value is the product that we produce. The value is the things that we barter and trade for that money, not the actual money itself. And yet and still, we got a stock market that exists on nothing but those digital numbers, that moves our economy, that tips and sways it. But yet and still, we can't just stop all of that thought process for a pandemic. It's got to keep moving. It's got to keep going. And it's part of the reason why we were so late as a country to get into it. It's part of the reason why we were so late as a country to get into it, because of our markets. We didn't want to get into it. We didn't want to slow the markets down because we don't want to have to worry about digital currency. And when we needed to be worried about medical supplies. But once again, you have the power. I have to accept that. That's the world. I don't have control over any of that. I have to accept the fact that I don't have control over any of that and can only just rant about it. But we all have the power to do something, whether that is to write something to our Congress person. You know what I'm saying? Our representative in Congress, our representative in the House. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's not to get information out to these people and say, look, this is how we feel about it. This is how the American public feels about it, and we aren't going to vote for you again unless you do this. You know what I mean? They can't win without any public vote whatsoever. You know, I mean, the Electoral College consists of people in districts voting. a certain amount of numbers compared to each district. If the people don't vote at all for the people, then they can't win. You know what I'm saying? Do you pick up what I'm putting down? But we have the power, and we got to own that power. You know what I'm saying? You can't just have it. You know what I'm saying? Just because God or the universe or however you believe made us in their image and gave us the power to move mountains, which if you believe in that, then you believe you should be able to push a mountain with your mind. That's true. It's true. Not in the way that you may think it's true, but it's true. Because I can think of a whole bunch of ways I can push a mountain with my mind and not even touch a tool myself. Maybe a pen, maybe a pad, maybe a checkbook. I can get a mountain moved with a checkbook, the right checkbook. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you got to think of here, because now you're in the entrepreneur zone. You're not in the, I'm going out to go do my work. I'm not going out to go work in a cubicle and do somebody else's work. I've got to sit down and do my own work now. That's what you got to think about now. Those of you who have that issue, those of you who might have just unfortunately lost your jobs or got laid off of your jobs and may not have a job when you come back, or those of you who quit your jobs, or those of you who were looking for a job and weren't able to get a job because of this pandemic. But just understand that after 66 days, as I said in the last episode, and if you want to know more about that episode, go back and watch Climb Up, that last episode, because it's got some information on it that'll bring you here to accept so that you can advance, or accept to advance. You know, I mean, this lesson. So, you know, in this book, she talks about the complainers, and the complainers spend that time complaining about these things, like I was just complaining about our government. But it's because, for me, I feel like I can relate to many of you all right now. We're stuck in our home, and we shouldn't even be stuck in our homes, because this could have been taken care of faster, quicker. You know what I'm saying? I know some of y'all are waiting for stimulus checks. I don't know if I'm gonna even get one. I don't think I'm getting one because I work. You know what I'm saying? I ain't worried about that. I'm not stressing on that. And if I do get a stimulus check, well, hey, that's a bonus for me. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm focused on where my next steps are. You know what I'm saying? I'm focused on what my next steps will be. You know? So, I mean, I know the rules behind stimulus check, and me working doesn't have anything to do with it, but I ran a business and filed taxes a little bit differently. That's why I said I don't know if I'm getting a stimulus check. So, you know what I'm saying? I know it's protected from being taxes, but I don't know. I got, you know, a bill collector out there that I don't agree that I am not going to pay. I agree that I'm not going to pay them because they've already gotten enough money out of me, and they may come in and steal that money too. So I ain't stressing that. You know what I'm saying? Right now, I'm stressing more or less what I need to continue to do, because in the next 6 months, our whole society has changed. Our whole world has changed. And as I stress in the next 6 months on what's going on here, as I stress in the next 6 months, because I'm not really stressing, as I look at things in the next 6 months, I stress on where my next steps are going to be. I stress on making my next goal. That's where I really stress. I'm always stressing on, how can I do this better? How can I be here better for my peoples? My peoples. You know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying, Vern? So, with that being said, I like to take a step back for a moment, and I need to give y'all the link to this book. That's another reason why I opened this, but I didn't need to open that because I actually have it right here. Copy. So, that being said, if you want the link to this book right here, it is You Own the Power by Rosemary Altea. All right. And I'm putting it in the chat right now. I'm going to put it in the chat a couple of times so that you can go ahead and take a look at this book. Let's put it in. Does it go? This should go everywhere. It didn't go to Discord. Okay, I got to fix the Discord part of that. That's not a big deal as long as it went to Periscope, Mixer, and YouTube. So, and I'm also going to make sure I have this set up later at the bottom for those who watch the replay on YouTube. I make sure I got this set up for you later at the bottom. You know what I'm saying? And if you ever forget any of the books, you ever forget any of the books I have. You know what I'm saying? Any of the books. Here, I don't know where that's at. I'm just going to put it in. That I put out. I got a book list that I put in. And I actually got to put last week's books in there. It's probably already in there, but I need to put this book in there. You can go ahead and take a look at my book list on Amazon. And go ahead and get you a book. It's easier for me to give you book list on Amazon, and even any book that I write, I'm probably just going to put it on Amazon. It's just easier that way. So, you know what I'm saying? You own the power. You take the charge. Amazon link in the description. Amazon link is going to be in the description. Amazon link is in the chat. Let me give you a little bit about this book. Now, she talks about those sisters, and those sisters complain to each other because they're trying to relate. They're trying to get on the same page with each other. And after time, they forget really some of the details of the reasons why they complain about these certain things. They forget the reason why they were upset about the certain things. But they just remember that this is a complaint that they relate to. One relates to a buckle. Yeah, my and dad never sewed the buckle on. That was one of the things he never did. They complained about their father for years. And it was just a way for them to connect as they got an adult, as they grew up. And they complained from being little kids on. But here's another side of that. There's a misconception when it comes to complaining. That misconception is that when we complain that we're actually not communicating. We're communicating when we complain. A complaint is us trying to get our idea across, even when it's a little complaint, even when it's a repetitive complaint. But hopefully that complaint is heard. Hopefully that complaint is satisfied. You see, matter of fact, I got a complaint right now. I'm trying to actually do my partnership stuff for Mixer, which is through Microsoft, and I'm having an issue because their website is showing me this. You want to see what their website is showing me? Their website is showing me this. This is one, but I got to accept that, and I've made phone calls. I've spent like 6, 7, 8 hours. Oops, let's take that back a little bit. 6, 7, 8 hours. And I'm getting a runtime error to update my tax information. The payee portal traffic manager, no matter how I go to it, is giving me a runtime error. So I can't update it. And they keep telling me I got a limited time to do all this stuff and everything. And I've been trying to update it, and I've called them. I've gone through. They want me to pay $299 to get support for me to become a partner. $299 for me to get corporate support to fix their website. I can't complain about it. All I can do is keep trying. And I'm determined to get through to them so I can get this fixed up, because, you know, that's extra opportunity for me to make some money. It's part of me to get things that I need in order. And, you know, I can understand the fact that they probably won't have anybody in to fix it. My only problem is that every option I got was some kind of computer, and when I finally get to somebody, everybody passes the buck. Everybody's like, well, you know, that's corporate or this. I'm like, well, can you write a note? Write an email to them. I mean, when I call tomorrow, I'm going to actually tell them exactly what I want them to do. I want you to sit down and I want you to write an email to commercial explaining my situation. I don't want you to pass me over. I don't want you to do anything else. I just want you to write an email and explain my situation so that they get a technician on it. You know what I'm saying? Because this could be a bigger problem for them in some kind of way. We don't know the reason why there's a runtime error, or it's corrupt, or we don't know what the problem is. And it's in their partnership accounts. It could affect more than just me. It could affect many, many people, and they don't know about it. Because people are passing the buck at customer service at Microsoft. And I've gone through a whole scenario with trying to contact Microsoft support, and then it sent me to this web chat. And when I got to the web chat, they gave me an 800 number. I got to the 800 number, and I've called the 800 number a few times, and nothing but gone to a commercial line and been hung up on before it actually connects with a human being. It just goes, hey, you have to call us back. Click. So I've wasted time after time again to do it, but I'm going to keep wasting time until it gets done. Why? Because I'm passionate and determined to make sure that I get what I need to get done to get my goals in order. See what I'm saying? That's what we all need to remember. Remember your passions. Remember where you're going, folks. Remember what you're trying to do, and remember how you're trying to do it, so that you can accept where you're at, the situation you're in, and advance. Now, in this book, she also talks about a couple. This one kills me. This couple that she kind of counsels, and she's in the car with her boyfriend Jim, and they get in the car with this couple, and the guy who has the car, owns the car, likes to buy a sports car. It's a sports car, and his wife looks a little timid. She seems like she's uncomfortable with the sports car idea, but he loves a sports car. He loves to drive fast. He loves this, and so he wants to show off to Jim, which is Rosemary's boyfriend. So the women, the wives, get in the back. Make sure I say that right. The wives get in the back, which happens when men want to show off their cars, and the men sit in the front. And, some of us men just love to show. And, as a matter of fact, I got a couple of friends who they were assigned, that's the word I'm looking for. They were assigned women at birth, but they consider themselves a man. And I hung out with them for years, and we talked cars, and we acted like that, and our girlfriend sat in the back. You know what I'm saying? I never thought of, every once in a while I remember that, that in some cases that I may not be able to be in the room with them for certain things that they may be embarrassed about because of their body. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, I never really, really, really worried about them calling them a woman. I always called them a man. That was my homeboy. That is my homeboy. Well, I don't know what they're doing now, but that was my homeboy from Georgia, and that's just the way it is. But in that same sense, this couple, and I'm trying to remember where I got back to, right. So it doesn't matter if you're assigned, what you're assigned at birth, but, in this sense, I was talking about the fact that we guy talk, it was a guy thing that we like to show off cars to each other, we had the same scenario. But one of the things that in this scenario that changed the whole world for Rosemary was that she was here to help this couple work through problems. And here she noticed a major issue. They get on the road, they start driving, and the guy starts pushing the pedal down. He starts going fast and whipping and turning, and he can see the wife starts to get a little irritated. She gets nervous, and she starts to get a little worried. And Rosemary's watching her. Her energy is climbing as she's sitting there watching the wife get more and more frustrated on how the husband's driving or fear how the husband's driving. And to the point where she blurts out, "Can you please slow down?" And the husband just takes it as an opportunity to speed up even more. He's all, "Quit your whining." And he does it. He jerks the car even harder. And he's showing off to his buddy. He did this to the point where she got so irritated that she started beating on the seat, asking him to slow down. And he took it to the word, "Quit your woman." Oh, I'm on adult stream. Yeah. He said, "Quit your bitching, woman." That's what he said. I think that's what she says. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to get from what she's saying, and quit your moaning and whining. And to me, where did it come from, the idea that if you are trying to express, that's one thing. We got to remember, we have to be cognizant of the people around us. We have to kind of understand the people around us and remember that not everybody takes the same thing from the same direction. You know what I'm saying? That word right there alone that I said might be taken wrong by somebody, and they may just want to turn off this broadcast just because of that word. And my intent is not to make them feel bad about that word. My intent is to understand that this man was not listening to the fears and the frustration that his wife was trying to convey. And maybe it's because he's heard it several times before. But at the same time, he wasn't giving her the opportunity to appease that complaint. You know what I'm saying? That complaint was when she was in the car. So when she's not in the car, man, do what you need to do. But at the same time, this whole understanding is she was irritated. I mean, emotionally irritated to where she was freaking out. And he still didn't want to offer that moment to her. So there's that idea. Complaining is taken in two different ways. When is complaining not communicating? It's communicating at all times. When are we accepting what's going on and maybe stepping back for a second and looking at it from the other person's shoes? Now, I want us to do that for ourselves now. I want us to take us a step outside of ourselves. And it's because of what she says in this book that I want us to do this. We're going to take a step outside of our own self, all right, and ask ourselves one question. Who am I? You see, she gets to that. Who am I? You got to ask yourself who you are. You got to ask yourself really who you are. And I mean, when I say ask yourself who you are, sit down and take some notes. Don't just, oh yeah, who am I? Yeah, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this. Yes, sit down and take some notes and sit down and write it down. Because it's important that you write it down. We have to sit down and write it down and make sure that we list who we are. You know what I'm saying? But who are you really? And not just who am I want you to ask, why am I? That's what she says. She says in this book, ask who am I and ask why am I? You know what I'm saying? Because who am I is one thing, but why am I doing what I do? Why am I who I am? Why am I? It's two different states. Two different states of being, two different states of mind, two different parts of thought processes. Two different processes. And those two different processes help us to actually take a look at what we need to do to take further steps. Now, what I mean by that, if we are 100 about it, you got to be 100 about it, folks. What do I mean by that? First off, 100, for those who don't know, when I say be 100, that means be 100% to yourself. Don't lie to yourself. Because that's the first way. We can sit up there all day long and be like, yeah, I'm brush off my shoulder, pop my collar. You know, I'm the bomb. I'm the real bomb. You know, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this. But in the long run, when you sit down and you're sitting on that couch worried about your job or worried about a job you don't have, then you're not being 100. Saying you the bomb and you at home living with mom. No offense to anybody living at mom, but if you really want to get out that house, you know what I'm saying? Some of us, you know, actually, I can't live with mom no more. I love you, mom, but I can't live with mom no more. But you know what I'm saying? I wish I took advantage of the privilege when I had it, though. You know what I'm saying? To stay at home as long as I could because I didn't. I mean, for me, at 15, I was already starting to try to figure out what I needed to do as far as my own place. So I had a different path. But I mean, sometimes I look back, you know, when I was a little younger, and I was like, man, you know, some of these kids got it good. They get to live at home until they're 30. Get to live at home until you're 30. Some 40, even more. You know what I mean? I don't look down on that either because eventually we're gonna have to turn around and take care of our parents, right? You know, just like they took care of us, we got to turn around and take care of them too, eventually. So I'm not saying that's a bad thing if you at home taking care of your parents and you at home, but if you ain't at home, if you ain't taking care of your parents and they taking care of you still and you 35, almost 40, you need to take a look. Who are you and why are you? Really? Really though, 100%. And if you got a job and you lost a job and now you're feeling depressed now, instead of trying to figure out what your next steps are and trying to figure out how to become an entrepreneur and how to do this online, like everybody's been saying, a home-based business, if you haven't even thought about that, then you need to take these steps too. Because these are the first parts of you taking acceptance of who you are. It's how you accept who you are first, knowing who you are. Because a lot of us don't really know who we are because we spend more time spending it doing what other people want us to do, whether it be at a job, whether it be at home, whether it be wherever it is. A lot of us spend more time doing what other people want us to do instead of doing what we want to do, and we're unconscious of that. We're very unconscious of that. You know what I mean? I know I did. I did it in the military a lot. You know, I did what other people wanted me to do because I signed on the dotted line and said I had to. You know, I saw on a dotted line that said that the United States government owns me to the point that if I got a tattoo and they didn't like it, they can court-martial me. If I cut my hair too low with a razor, they could court-martial me if I got sunburned, because that's destruction of government property. You gotta understand what being in the military really meant. Meant you did whatever you were told to do. And if you didn't, you got in trouble for not doing it. Trust me. A lot of us did. So, you know, but I mean, you know, if you don't think about, and I got to go back to this, if you're not 100% about who you are and why you are, when you start to take this process, this is why this is really so important. I had to bring this back, because when you start to take this process, if you don't take a look at who you are and why you are, when you start to get in that process, you will definitely fail. Because in the midst of that process, you will have this problem. You won't be able to maintain the passion for what you want to do. You may have sat down and done all the research, got all the facts and information. Then you're like, okay, I'm just going to do this business. And then you're like, you can't find the motivation. You can't find the motivation to do this business. You want somebody else to take over. You want to go ahead and get on Shark Tank and see if you can close a deal because it's too much for you. It's too much for you. But instead of you stepping back and saying, this is my business, this is my world, I don't need Shark Tank. I don't have any debtors right now. Or if I do got debtors, I can pay those debtors myself. You know what I'm saying? And taking that next level. You know what I'm saying? Once again, sit down and make a list of your character traits. Find out your character for real. I talked about this earlier. You know, I said, you know, it's important that we know our strengths. I spend a lot of time in StrengthsFinder. Why do I spend time in StrengthsFinder? Because I know that the top 5 strengths are the main focus of who I am. And then after that, there are, 29 other strengths that are a part of me. And pretty much it's the top 10 that really make who I am. But the other strengths, when I look at them, I know that where they are in the position to say that, okay, I'm not as strong in these areas. You see, I didn't say weakness. I'm not as strong in these areas because it's all about strengths. There is no weakness in StrengthsFinder. It's all about the shadow side of your strengths. Knowing that part of your strengths can overwhelm or be too much for other people. Just like I said about that word, just like I said about what we do and how we accept things, we may accept things in a different light that other people can't accept. You know what I'm saying? And so when we try to relate, we might complain about something, but somebody else might not hear it because they can't accept what we're complaining about because they don't see it the same way we do. And so sometimes that communication gap is not bridged. That communication gap misses that angle. It butts heads. So who are you really, though? If you're going to make a list of good and bad traits, you got to be honest with yourself about them. You got to sit down with them, and you got to make sure you're honest. Or otherwise, you're just hyping yourself up for failure. You're just getting hype up. I've done it. You know what I mean? When I first started this process, I thought I was going to make automatic money right off the bat. Literally, I sat down and said, I'm going to make Rio bucks. I'm getting my boy Rio, you know what I mean, Rich Bucks, you know what I'm saying? But Doc, give my boy Rio. I am Rio. Give my boy Rich Bucks. And while I give my bucks Rich Bucks, we're going to make this business, and we're going to do this and did this and this and this. It wasn't even that easy. No. I had to sit down and come up with lessons plan, and then I had to go back and say, wait, I'm doing something wrong here. I had to figure out what I'm doing wrong, reassess my whole scenario, rechange my trajectory, and accept the fact that I didn't know what I was doing and spend money on Grant Cardone, Ty Lopez, whoever, and read other books and listen to what these people are telling me as they've done steps. And read the books that actually matter for me. You know, everybody has a different set of things that matter for them. Everybody has a different set of what they know works for them as well. And I know that certain things have worked for me in the past 4 years. Now, mind you, I was doing this while I'm recovering and going to school to get my degree. So I can't say I'm putting 100%. I was putting 100% in the business. And even in this time, I'm still not putting 100% in the business. I'm putting about 30% in the business to make it work while I'm still in school, putting 30% in school, putting another 20%. No, actually, I'm putting another 30% in work and another 10% in rest and my personal life. You see what I'm saying? So when am I living? I got 90% given out there already. 30% in school, 30% in work, 30% in my side business, 10% is for me. And so in that, yes, I do get frustrated. And in that, yes, I do have problems accepting certain things. But we all do. But as long as we remember we have to accept, then we don't have any problems advancing. As long as we can write down a list of those things, then we can visually see. We can visually see where our problems are. Now, you're probably wondering, what are some of those things? In this book, she talks about a few of them. She has a few of them that she puts in there. She makes two lists. She makes a list of her good and bad traits for one side to say who she is, and she makes a list of positive and negative traits to say why she is, all right? And in her list of bad traits, thoughtless, cruel, selfish, oversensitive, bad-tempered, intolerant, bossy, untidy. You know what I'm saying? And demanding. I got a few of those. I mean, I can sometimes be thoughtless. I know I can be cruel on that sharp tongue. I am selfish. I already know that. I definitely am oversensitive sometimes. I mean, I'm my worst critic. So there's sometimes I'm criticizing myself over criticizing myself over criticizing myself. You know what I'm saying? But I'm sensitive when somebody else does it and I like hear it. I'm like, oh. I had my fraternity brother say something to me once, at work. And I was like, oh, man, he hit me. I was a little upset. But I had to let that go. I had to build my thick skin back up. You know what I'm saying? Bad-tempered, well, sometimes we can all be bad-tempered, dude. If you look at yesterday, if you heard the tone of my voice, I took it a little bit too far. I took it a little bit outside the box of what I'm supposed to be managing my own anger. You know what I'm saying? That's that three fingers needed to come back. I thought I was Incredible Hulk. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you gotta go back to David Banner. You know what I'm saying? Let Banner control the situation because Hulk be tearing stuff up. Intolerant. I've been intolerant about a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? And when I think of intolerant these days, a lot of times I'm thinking, I forget that intolerance has to do with everything. You know what I mean? And I've thought about, I'm pretty tolerant about a lot of things, but no, not if I'm complaining about that I can't get something done by a computer system in the middle of a pandemic. I'm not really tolerant. I was upset. I'm still going to keep pushing, but I was upset that I couldn't get through a couple of times. I'm upset that AI sucks. I tried to explain it to AI like I need website servicing. Or, they should at least got me somewhere, commercial website servicing. Something, somewhere, it's AI. Somebody should have got with somebody on the phone and say, hey, what do you really need? But instead, it sends me in a loop for over and over and over again until I just sat there and pressed zeros until it went through. You know how annoying that? You know how many zeros I pressed? I probably pressed about 1,000 zeros today. But you know what I mean? And that's me being a bit intolerant. I'm bossy sometimes. I forget. The military, I start saying stuff in the command form. Hey, you got that done? All right, bet. You know what I'm saying? Or, hey, do this for me. Instead of, can you please do this for me? Or can you do this for me still? But that's still some harsh sometimes. So I have to remember sometimes, or I'll just say, move that. You know what I'm saying? Instead of please move that. Sometimes we got to be less bossy and remember that we're bossy, untidy. Well, look at behind me. Look. This is a controlled chaos behind me. It's controlled chaos around me. I am sometimes untidy, and I try to clean up all the time. My desk at work usually is cleaner. It's cleaner than other days. Than my desk at home. My desk right over there is a little bit messy. I got a couple of books, a couple of bills, a duster, and some other things sitting on the desk that I don't need over there. But this desk is pretty clean. If you were to see this desk is pretty clean. This is my workspace right now. That's become like a shelter space. You know what I mean? For paperwork, the mail that comes in. You know what I mean? So, you know, yeah, I'm untidy sometimes. And yes, I'm demanding. You know, I mean, honest, I'm talking with a cat right now. He is actually one of our followers right now, and I should say his name. I should give him a shout out. Should I give him a shout out? Mother Flocka's working on a project for me right now. You know what I'm saying? He's working on a project of a couple of my visuals for my Mixer page. You know what I'm saying? So I can put my layout of, you know, my information and do it right with the good cartoon character, Doc Rio. So I'm working with him to try to get me a nice little character, Doc Rio, that I like for this particular layout. You know what I'm saying? Just for this particular layout. Because I realize that I'm probably going to eventually mold, you know, Mini Doc into something different. You know, for now, I actually have animated Mini Docs. I have an animated part of that in Adobe Animate that I've done. I set it up, stick figure. I can get on there and be Mini Doc and move around and have him talking on the screen right now if I wanted to. But instead of doing that, I'd rather give you me and have Mini Doc be the person that comes across the screen every once in a while. You know, so I've been thinking about how I'm going to change that character. And so I'm working with Mother Flocka to try to get that situated. And if you don't know where I mean Mother Flocka, he's a Mother Flocka on Mixer. Mother Flocka, Mutha Flocka on Mixer. So let me see if I can shout him out. I don't know. Yeah, I can. I couldn't even get over to the chat. This is what I was having a problem with. Mother Flocka. Let me make sure I spelled it right. See what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I spelled it right. Mother Flocka. I need to do it like that so it comes out right. That booyah. All right, so you know what I'm saying? I have him working on something. He's an artist. He's sitting around. He's sitting at home. You know what I'm saying? So I'm working with him. I'm taking a risk to work with other people. I mean, not that I don't know him. I kind of know him from Mixer, but I'm learning other people at the same time. So shout out to Mother Flocka. You know what I'm saying? Go check him out. You know what I'm saying? You want some artwork done? Go check him out. You can actually see him streaming on his stream. He streams himself drawing artwork. So you need some artwork done, check him out. So far, I've kind of liked the concept he's coming up with, but I've kind of, you know, I got a little bit demanding when he did it. And I was like, look, I want this, and this. I want exact. I have an idea of where I want it, but with what he's giving me, I like where he's going with, and I kind of want to match a connection in and see if we can meet on even ground. You know what I mean? On the same terms. So if that's the case, if we figure it out and we get it linked in the right way, you know, I'm gonna hook him up and pay him for it. That's just the way it is. You know, that's how we work, right? You know, somebody does work, they pay him for it, you know, and we all eat. We all eat because I will end up benefiting more by doing what I need to do better on Mixer, and he'll benefit more by getting more business as well as getting the business I'm giving him. So that's where I'm saying we all eat. So, you know what I mean? But there were a couple of things that I liked that she did put in her list on the other side. Now, I'm showing you all the bad side. She has another side that's a good side, her good traits, but her good traits are smaller. Her good traits, when she talked about her traits, although she had thoughtlessness, cruel, selfish, oversensitive, bad-tempered, intolerant, bossy, untidy, and demanding, on the other side, she had sense of humor, quick to laugh, good cook, and nice personality. Now, those are going to be different for you, but I mean, if you realize that we as individuals actually tend to have more bad traits than we have good traits. When we get 100 about it, we don't put all this fluff on the other side. We actually look in with a clear eye at ourselves and actually examine our personal behavior to say, okay, you know, I may not be as what I think, you know, as high up there as I think. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying don't break your self-esteem down. Don't do that. but look at yourself and say, okay, what am I starting with so that I can build my self-esteem higher? You see what I'm saying? Because I think a lot of times we start with something and we'll find that we'll fail, but we didn't even have the self-esteem to hold that spot. So part of our failing has to do with our own understanding of who we are and why we are before we can actually get to that point. Now, another part of this. Make sure I didn't. Oh, what was that? Did I mess up something? Did I leave it? Uh-oh. I did. I left a couple of. Let's get that out. Okay. So that tends to happen every once in a while. You leave a couple of slides in there, especially since, yeah. Anyway, so we must accept to advance. We must learn to accept who we are, examine who we are. Okay, basically I said once we have examined who we are and why we are, then we can finally accept to advance. That's what I wrote down. I wasn't going to read that, but the idea is once we finally sat down and went through ourselves with a fine-tooth comb, actually took a moral inventory. Wow, I sound like a 12-step program. It is a 12-step program, 12-step to multimedia success, but dang, I didn't think that some of these issues would stand out so strong. You know, that book has only been directed at people with problems with alcohol, but that book is meant for anybody in life. I really believe that book actually sets free for us, because a lot of times we're like this little girl you see right here, stubborn. We don't want to accept nothing. Got our arms crossed, got our attitude out, sitting around like, no, I don't have to. Now. That's all we do in our head is now sometimes. But when we accept, that green light hits, and we can actually walk up that ladder and advance in our career, advance in our entrepreneurism, advance in our lifestyle, advance in our world. And when we're able to do that, it can help us through a lot of things. So I say we got a few things that can help us advance here. First, I got 4 steps that I say are like the starting line. I say there are 4 steps to get us to that starting gate. You know what I'm saying? There's a gap that I think needs to be bridged. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm just going to jump out there and start at the gate, but they haven't taken these steps. They haven't taken the mindset steps. We have to take the mindset steps. The mindset steps start with the basics, but they go into this climbing up. This climbing up has to do with motivating ourselves and getting us ready to get to that starting line so we can take off. We can take off with a clear head, a clear mind, and run the race. Because that's what we're doing. We're running a race. And I'm not talking about this rat race. We're running a race, though. We're running a race with time. We only have so much time in our lives. So we are running a race. You know what I'm saying? I just prefer not to say a rat race because I don't look at y'all as rats on a wheel. I have more empathy than that to look at y'all other than rats. I have more faith in humanity than that. I do. As much as I see bad stuff in the world, and as much as I accept some of the bad things, and when I got in the military, I had to accept some of the things that I didn't believe in when I was an activist, a student, a Los Angeles Student Coalition activist, and Children of War activist, and Basu's a brother and sister in USA mentor. There are some things I had to start accepting so that I can advance in life. Because although those worlds put us in worlds where people can make us feel like, oh, wow, we have a beauty between the people who can share things and people care for one another and love one another. At the same time, it's not realistic. It's not. It's like utopia is not realistic. It is enlightening, though. It does help us look at ourselves, look at our world, and start to be more enlightened. And start to respect others and start to care for others and start to listen to others' complaints. It helps us get ready to accept so we can get to the starting line. So the first step is Oh, you're probably asking what steps. Yeah. I put that in there. I don't know why. But let's skip over that. The first step is accepting the situation that we're in. We all have to accept the situation that we're in. Hard to do. Still to this day, we got a lot of people right now having a hard time accepting the situation. I know that's off-centered. I can see that's off-centered right there. Sorry. Accept the situation. Also, the second one, we have to know our strengths. First, you have to accept the situation. That's what this is about, accepting the situation. So the next lesson is going to be focusing on how to dig into our strengths. Strength Finder. I'm going to be talking more about Strength Finder. Why am I talking more about Strength Finder? Because you need them 34 strengths. All the people that think they just need the top five, you need them 34 strengths. You need to look at them 34 strengths. You need to look at them 10 strengths and figure out how they equate and relate to each other. And then you need to look at the people around you and know their strengths as well, so that you understand how you relate and equate with them as well. And that could be family members. That could be people you work with. That could be people you want to build an entrepreneurial business with. You need to sit down, and both of y'all need to do this Gallup Strength Finder, Clifton Strengths. Or the trio of you, or the quad of you. Excuse me. Sinuses. Ooh. So, then, after you've sat down and you've done the Clifton Strengths, and you've done what you need to do. There we go. Now I can breathe. All right. After you've looked at the strengths and you start to learn your strengths and you start to learn more, I'm still learning mine. I've got all these things charted out and I'm reading it all the time and I'm learning, because it's a process. It's not just hey, I read it once and I get it. I see a lot of people at the California State University, Northridge University Student Union, a lot of students who go through this process of learning these strengths and are excited about strengths and Strength Finder and excited about it. And then they get to work for a while, they forget about their strengths. They forget about how to use their strengths. They forget about what they have. They start talking about, even me, start talking about our faults, our weaknesses, and forget that we have strengths. Forget that our weaknesses are just shadow parts of our strengths. The fact that I talk too much may annoy certain people, but the fact that I talk too much is a part of my communication strength. You see, I'm a woo, winning others over. Winning others over means that I tend to get out there and I communicate and I do small talk and chat with people so I can get to know people. And while I'm getting to know people, I'm positive. That's my second strength there, because my positivity stands out. But, winning others over sometimes can look to other people as, this is the shadow side. Winning others over can look to people. Actually, I should say this for the next lesson. But winning others over can look to people sometimes as too shallow, because I'm off to conversations a lot. But because I'm positive, a lot of people connect with that a little bit more, and they're able to jump on in and be like that. You know what I mean? They're able to be like, okay, he's cool. Yeah, he may be a little shallow in his conversation here and there. And I'm going to tell you why it's a little shallow in my conversation in just a second. Here and there. But at the same time, his positivity rings out. But then some people are like, oh, that's too much positivity. He always positive. He always smiling. This is dark days. Why he smiling? Why he always the one smiling? Don't he know that we got bad times ahead of us? Just who I am. So that's the shadow side of positivity. That's the shadow side of positivity. So I've given you the shadow side of woo. I've given you the shadow side of positivity. Now my next one is communication. Now I've given you the positive, the strength side of it, and the shadow side of both of these. But the strength side of communication is that I'm able to intellectually communicate with people and get my thought process across, even when I'm not using the right words. Even when I'm not using the proper grammar, even when I'm not versed in the right vocabulary, even when I have sometimes didn't even know what I was talking about the subject, I still get my point across. And that part of communication helps us actually connect with people and communicate with people on a certain level. But the fact that I am a communicator, people think I talk too much. That's the shadow side of communicating, of being a communicator, of having the communication strength. You know what I mean? Then we got consistency. This one's bad for me and good for me, because there's two sides of consistency, or there's two sides of the strength and consistency that I lack in talking about sometimes. And the strength and consistency has to do with the fact that I like things to be fair. But also, when it comes to fair is talking about even too. So if you look at it in a mathematical sense, I like things to be certain way. There's that OCD where things need to be a certain way and they need to be laid out a certain way. You know, like right now, I just adjusted my keyboard so that I have enough space for my mouse over here. And I turned the phone so I have enough space to move my mouse around over here. So I have certain things a certain way for certain reasons. And that's the consistency, but it's also about fairness, that everybody must be treated with the same kind of fairness. You know, I mean, the problem with that is that when things get inconsistent and when things aren't fair, I get a little frustrated. I get a little agitated. I get a little anxious. I can't deal with it as well. You know what I mean? And it's funny because a lot of people tell me I work great under pressure, but yet and still, I don't work as great. I know under pressure as I feel. And as I get older, it's not as easy to work under pressure the same way. You know, especially when it comes to news, actually. It's just news that I have. I do a lot of other stuff under pressure because I just know the information. I'm on top of it. You know, when I've got that feeling of being on top of it as I crack my knuckles in the microphone here, sorry about that. But I know that feeling of being on top of things, then I relax down and my skills show more. And I have to understand that's part of my strength. That if I can allow my consistency to balance out, if I can balance to act, then I'll be able to act and accept to advance so that I can act. So you see where I'm going here? This is all related. Both back to the basics relates to climbing up. Because you can't climb up unless you know the basics, and you need the basics continually through the time that you're climbing up. And last but not least, the third thing you need while you're climbing up, you got to get over the fact that, like I was saying before, we feel we can't do stuff. We feel that we're not able to really, really, really succeed at these things. We got to get over that fact. We got to raise self-expectations. We got to raise our self-expectations. To achieve more, expect more, set the bar high, and believe you can reach it. The name is not in there. I needed the name in there. So I have to get the name of that out. But that is just interesting to me, that this is just so powerful, that we got to reach higher. Once we've accepted the situation, once we've realized our strengths, we can reach higher. Because we can understand how to reach higher in the scenarios we're in. And once we understand how to reach higher, and once we get to that part, we now get to advance to the start line. Now we're ready for change. And now I know some of y'all are just going to get up to the start line, ain't going to be like these shoes right here, stand at the start line and not ready for change. You're still hovering over start line, looking down at the start line. It's not about looking down at that start line. It's not about hovering. You need to get down in that race position. You need to get down in that ready position. You need to be ready for change, ready to get in the race, ready by staying sharp, by staying on point, and by keeping moving. You're ready to be in the race. And when you do that, you understand that a key factor of change is our ability to transmit our energy and ideas into purpose. So don't just stand on the starting line. Don't just stand there looking down at the starting line. Stay sharp. Stay on point. And keep moving. And when you keep moving, you'll know, you'll understand. I mean, like, people keep asking me, why do I do this? Why do I want to be this case study? I do this because I've had to take from other people's proven techniques, right, and apply them within my life. And I see them work, and I'm recording the results, and I'm the case study. I'm recording these results since 2016 as I've been implementing these things into my life and looking at it. And as I record them, I'm making these lessons. It's so weird that the things I'm recording are coming out in lessons, and I'm not even giving you statistical data. I don't have to. I'm giving you stuff out of books that you can read and get the same information that I'm getting. The same information that I'm seeing. So when I read the book, I'm like, yeah, they're right, because I've seen it happen. You see, you got to understand that. I'm more being inspired by these books because I know that they're right because I've seen it. And it's more like it's affirming what I already know to be true. They're affirmations. And affirmations are good to help us motivate ourselves. They help us find that key factor of change and move forward. You know what I mean? They help us do what we need to do in life. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's important that we all take that step to climb. Run on time. Almost home. It's almost home. As long as we run on time. We might always be stuck in almost home, but as long as we still keep going, eventually we'll cross the line. You know what I'm saying? So my plan is to continue to keep doing this from love, a place of love and empathy. And as I continue to do that, especially with everything going on in this world, I hope that we can have more unity in America. You know, I grew up at a time where we stood together in school and raised our hand and said, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God. Whether or not you believe under God or not, you don't have to say under God. Either way, indivisible with liberty and justice for all. That to me, the point is us standing in a room and saying that cadence right there. People have been talking about, oh, it's a brainwashing and all that. Yeah, it's a brainwashing. It's a brainwashing into unity. We have to be unified in this country in order to get through things. And so what if children are being brainwashed by the Pledge of Allegiance to be unified in this country? We need to be. It's the United States of America, and that's the only way we're going to be unified is if we talk to each other in a way of being together. And that one thing of us saying one thing together allowed us to relate on a level and communicate on a level about something that we may or may not believe, but we all knew that we had to agree to. Because we all had to agree to it, we all took steps in that path to be unified. We all took steps to stay together, united hand in hand, instead of apart like we all have to face right now. And you know, this is a time for you all to be unified together through digital technology. We can still be unified even though we have to be apart. Reach out to one another, reach out to each other and be unified. And remember that we are one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's get away from this injustices that's out here. Let's get away from buying up, hoarding things from each other. Share, give, be a part of one another in one community. I remember when I was a kid in an apartment building, we'd go down the hall and knock on the neighbor's door and ask for sugar, ask for rice, ask for cereal, ask for anything. I hardly do that now. I hardly will do that because I don't feel as comfortable doing it, even though I know my neighbors just as well. Sometimes I do ask here and there neighbors for different stuff, but I just don't do it as much as I did when I was a kid. That was that unity in our community. You see, you can't have a community without unity, and you can't communicate without some kind of unity. See what I'm saying? Come on now. You gotta. Communication is a two-way street. At least at the minimal, it's a two-way street. Two people have to converse, and either by words, body language, motions, grunts, whatever, sign language, whatever it may be, we still communicate. And as we communicate, and as we grow, and as we understand where we need to go, we need to be together and work together. I have faith that we can all do it. I said that earlier. I have faith in human beings. I mean, I say this because the Godfather, Derek Kasari, his best friend is LeVar Burton. And I've always looked at Reading Rainbow as, you know, LeVar Burton for Reading Rainbow. But I've always looked at him as someone who's reached out in the community and understood people and cared for people. He's come from a place of love and empathy in his career. And I've always respected him for that. And I've always wanted to get that message out to LeVar Burton. So if you're watching this, LeVar, thank you. And thank you for what you said in that panel, the TNG. That TNG, for those who don't know, the Next Generation panel, Star Trek Next Generation panel, where they brought some of y'all back because I totally agree with this. LeVar Burton said, in the face of contrary evidence, I still want to bet on the human beings. I mean, come on, I'm powerful. In the face of contrary evidence, I still want to bet on the human beings. And I think that's powerful. No matter what we say or do to each other out there, I have this understanding that we are and can be kind to each other. We are and can help and work with one another. Look at the people out there sacrificing for us right now, giving their lives to save ours. You can do it too. You can sacrifice for your neighbor. You can sacrifice for your friend by reaching out to them. Reach out to them. Try to connect with them on another level and try to hold back that negative energy. Try not to be toxic. You know, remember what I said before, be nicer to your neighbors, be nicer to the people around you. Even when you try not to be, and if you can't be nice, it's best not to say it at all. If you can't say something nice, don't say it at all. You know, if that's what you got to go through, that's what you got to go through, folks. I have faith that you can. And we all need to prepare for what comes after the storm, you know? And it's part of the change. It's part of the change that comes with transmutation. I got a song that talks about that change. And I read one of my other songs yesterday. I was actually going to play another song tonight, but I don't think it's needed. I think playing a song takes us out of this whole lesson. And I think it's important that the change starts with transmutation. And let me go with that. There's a lot of transmutation that can be done. Napoleon Hill talks about sexual transmutation. Let's just talk about, we can transmute anger, sexual desire, depression, anxiety, fear, loneliness, shame. We can transmute it all into something positive and creative. So take all those negative thoughts, take all those negative things and change them and formulate them and get them out there so that key element of change is your ability to transmit or transmute your energy into ideas and use those ideas to create purpose. This is Doc. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Stay tuned as I come back next week. I may have a interview this week as well. I'm trying to open up Saturday nights for In the Hotbox Live. So if you like In the Hotbox Live, feel free to send me a chat out about it. I'm going to actually release the episode after because we had some technical difficulties, after I slice the two pieces together and allow y'all to see what it is that we're putting out there and allow you to get a feel for what In the Hotbox Live is all about. It's all about the people in the community. It's all about people who have certain things that they're doing in the community or have done in the community. And it's all about getting an interview. I know we're doing it on Skype. I know we're doing it over the web now, but I'm interviewing people who are talking about their experiences, their life, and the things that they do in our community to build that unity even more. As well as I'll be back next Sunday with more In the Hotbox with Doc Rio. That's me. That's my rant time. Doing my rant time on Sundays, and then we'll come back again on Monday and repeat that lesson once again. So if you like what you see, go ahead and smash that follow button down below. And if you're on YouTube watching this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Periscope, the same thing. Follow. And if you really like what you hear, go ahead on Mixer and on YouTube and hit that bell for future notifications so you can know when we're on. Follow us, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Discord. You can even check out the Discord chat. Come on, folks. When I say you can check out the Discord chat, let's go ahead and get that Discord chat to you right there. Because the Discord, I'm pumping it up now, and I'm going to be cranking it up and doing private sessions in the Discord chat. I'm going to have private rooms, private sessions, everything set up for those who are members of my community. You know what I'm saying? I have beta testers. Yes, I have a lot of beta testers. I'm trying to move them over to Discord so we can have private talks and private sessions. But like I said, people want media where they want to receive it. And so I understand that people don't want to come over to Discord to do it. But when you get ready to want to do a private session with me, that's where you're going to have to do it at, because I'd like to do it there where I can safely control the environment and it's not as stuffy as Zoom, other community devices. So I just like the laid back, the style of the devices I'm using today. the communities like Mixer. I love the community on Mixer, and these are things that I just like to keep in my wheelhouse. You know what I'm saying? If I'm gonna be at the starting line, I want a clear head, and Mixer and Discord give me a clearer head in what I do, and so that's why I use them, and that's why I'm going. OBS gives me a clearer head in what I do, and as I figure out how to use all my tools together, then I'll have a clearer head on everything that I'm delivering to you. So stay tuned. This is Doc. I'll be back soon as I come back with more In the Hot Box with Doc Real. I'm out of here. Peace.
Doc Real TV.